Hello, I'm Rob Gotti of the Westwood Select Board, welcoming you to the Lowdown, a series designed to help demystify local town government, increase civic engagement, and encourage broader participation. In my time on the Select Board, I've been presented with, or sometimes confronted with, arguments that were based on incomplete information or misunderstanding. No one's to blame for that. People lead busy lives with limited bandwidth for diving deep into issues, and so sometimes ask questions out of frustration that may or may not be completely informed. I've always engaged these folks with the goal of helping lower tensions by increasing understanding. In mid-December, I was asked to be a guest speaker for a Westwood High School class called Civic Action. A group of roughly 30 high school juniors were really engaged and asked some great questions. I thoroughly enjoyed the day, and as I reflected on the experience, it dawned on me that the types of questions I get regularly might be a great foundation for a mini-series that could help scale collective understanding across our community. That's the purpose of the Lowdown. I will try to present things in a way that help explain them in a simple, straightforward way without bias. Any opinions, whether expressed or perceived, are solely my own. They're not meant to convey any opinions of my Select Board colleagues, nor the town administration at large. Today's topic is Westwood Government 101, so let's jump in and get the lowdown. Our world today is full of anger and division. Let's begin with something I think we might be all able to agree on. In Westwood, we live in a place that's as close to the purest form of democracy as exists on the planet. Okay, a skeptic might say, yeah, right. How's that? Well, first I want you to think of the many different forms of government that exist across the globe today. Communism, dictatorships, whether autocratic or military, monarchies, oligarchies, totalitarianism, theocracy, representative democracy, whether republic or parliamentary. The United States Constitution establishes a federal democratic republic form of government. That is, we have an indivisible union of 50 sovereign states, thus a federation. We are a democracy because the people govern themselves. It is representative because people choose elected officials by free and secret ballot. It's a republic because the government and the elected officials derive their power from the people. As we look specifically at the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, it allows for 4 variations of local government structure. Form 1, a mayor and council. Form 2, council and town administrator. Form 3, open town meeting, select board, and town administrator. Form 4, representative town meeting, select board, and town administrator. In Westwood, we have the open town meeting form, where the select board and the town administrator act as the executive branch of local government. Annual town meeting serves as the legislative body, where all registered voters are eligible to debate on budgets, bylaws, petitioner articles, and borrowing articles or bonds. Every resident, not just an elected few, has a direct voice in what happens here. You've heard the question, where do you stand on the issue? Well, that originates from the open town meeting form of local government. Passage of articles is routinely taken by voice vote. However, until recently, if a voice vote was too close to call, a standing vote would be taken. Residents would stand when their position on the issue, for or against, was called, and they would be counted by hand by election officials. Think about that. Where else on earth do you have this type of influence? There are nearly 20,000 municipalities across the United States. According to the International City-County Management Association, the ICMA, less than 10% of municipalities use the open town meeting form of government. Now, here's a question for you. What percent of Westwood residents do you think routinely vote in our annual town elections? 75%? 50%? 25% or less than 25%? Here's a look at voter turnout to annual town elections over the past 10 years. Yes, you see that correctly. Less than 20% on average turnout for the annual elections where you get to choose the elected officials in town, the select board, the planning board, school committee, etc. If you were surprised by that number, the next number may shock you. Here is the turnout for annual town meeting over that same 10-year period. That's an average of just 3.5% of residents who show up to town meeting to decide on the things that matter most closest to home. With great opportunity comes great responsibility. My wife and I encourage our adult children to be informed, that they seek to understand by asking clarifying questions, and that they form their own opinions based on facts. Then, most importantly, they exercise their rights by voting in every election. One of the students in that civics class asked, "Why does our town charter say our local elections are to be nonpartisan?" My answer to those students was, most of the issues that divide us at the national level have little to no bearing here. The issues local elected officials deal with have to do with the delivery of basic services, public safety, police, fire, quality education like the teachers in the room that day, public works such as clearing the roads and repairing the roads, and human services such as the library, the Council on Aging, or Youth and Family Services. These are the issues that affect us all as neighbors and members of a community that we need to live with each and every day. So we're better served when we think about solving challenges as neighbors and not members of political parties. The biggest threats to democracy are apathy, misinformation, and the breakdown of trust. Our democratic rights are much like our muscles and our brains. Without regular exercise, they can wither, weaken, and potentially be taken from us. So every resident should be encouraged to responsibly exercise your democratic rights regularly by voting in our town elections and attending annual town meeting. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found today's Lowdown helpful in understanding more about how things work here in Westwood. See you next time, and have a great day.